Howdy folks, Matty with Gulf Coast Fit. I'm excited to run through a strength continuum workout with you. We're focusing on the lower body, specifically the posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, lower back. This strength continuum spectrum is based around the hip hinge, hinging the hips and engaging the posterior chain at different work capacities or different strength capacities, which means based on the exercise and what weight we're working with, that dictates the rate of fire of your muscle fibers or how fast or what your velocity is for that exercise. So just like we like to be able to walk, run, crawl, jog, sprint at different speeds, we want to be able to express strength in different speeds. So we have all different strength capacities, from absolute strength, maximum 1 rep strength, down to high volume, longer duration stamina. So those are all strength capacities. I'm going to start with a power exercise. I'm going to use squats, which is typically a strength exercise. I'm going to use it for power here, which is, in this case, more of a speed strength exercise. So it's still fairly heavy, but my goal is to move the bar very quickly. You'll see I'm going to take a wide stance. I'm going to sit back. That way we're conforming to our hip dominant posterior chain objective here. So I'm going to hop under the bar. We're going to get 3 to 5 reps on your, anywhere from 2 to 5 reps really on your power exercise. Here we go. 2 to 5 reps depending on how well you're executing the exercise, how fast you're moving. Got my wide stance here. Sitting back, big hip hinge. And trying to move it fast. I'm gonna get one more. Oh yeah, on that 4th rep, I can feel myself starting to lose a little bit of aggression, to lose a little bit of explosivity. So I cut it there. That's very important with power. If your objective is power, don't go far past the point of being explosive and moving the weight fast. All right, moving on to our next exercise, which is actually the more conventional strength exercise for us today. And for strength, once again, let's keep it between 2 and 5 reps. And I'm going with a conventional deadlift. Very hip hinge dominant here. And once again, a squat could also be your strength exercise, but I went a little lighter on my squat so I can move the bar explosively. And here I go with my deadlifts. Hinge, 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 back, back, back. Load the hamstring. Big air. Thrust. I'm still trying to move the bar as fast as I can. But in this case, we're utilizing it as our strength exercise. There's 5 reps here. These two are pretty interchangeable, a squat and a hip dominant squat and a hip dominant deadlift. Very interchangeable for strength, just depending on how fast you're trying to move or how fast the weight allows you to move the bar dictates what capacity you're working with. All right, let's swivel you on around here. And we are moving on to more of a speed strength exercise. With those heavy barbells, it's more strength speed. This is more of speed strength. Going with a double kettlebell swing variation, wide stance, not only to accommodate for the 2 kettlebells between my legs, but to hinge the hips more. So with this speed strength exercise, the weight's lighter, so we're moving it faster. The volume can be a little bit higher too on these. I would say anywhere from 8 to 15 reps. Honestly, probably 5 to 12 reps. But it's really all about the feel. So here we go, got my starting position. Boom. Boom. Now, thereafter 8 reps, once again I could feel I was starting to lose steam a little bit. So I cut it. This is a performance-based workout. We want to have the show and the go. So This is what I call a hybrid workout. It's not just strength, it's not just power, it's not just hypertrophy and building muscle, it's everything wrapped in one. Speaking of, now we're moving on to our more conventional hypertrophy exercise, which is a barbell hip thrust, or a barbell bridge, you could call it. Oh, great, you can still see me. All right, barbell bridge. More conventional for hypertrophy, 8 to 15 reps. Shimmy on under here. All right, this is all about the hip hinge. This isolates the hamstrings and glutes even more than the last 3 exercises. Big squeeze at the top. Little posterior pelvic tilt at the top. Little pause. Work up a big burn. A lot of lactic acid. A lot of burn. A lot of localized fire going on in the booty. Speed up these last few reps. All right. That was somewhere between 12 and 15 reps. Shimmy out from here. Then let's move on to our final hip dominant exercise. We're going to do a cable pull through. This focuses, it isolates the posterior chain, glutes and hamstrings very well. Slightly higher volume, 15 to 25 reps. A little more of stamina that we're addressing now. Still good for getting a pump and building some hypertrophy, but there's an element of stamina if you're going up past 15 reps. Now, very important on a pull through to not use your arms. Make sure you're pushing your hips into the attachment. You can do pull-throughs with bands or cables as long as you're thrusting, pulling through, squeezing, feeling the contraction in the posterior chain. See, I've got a pretty wide stance, pushing my hips against my forearms. I'm not using my shoulders or arms. I'm only using my arms to hold on to the ropes here. Just because you don't have access to a cable machine or the tools that I'm showing you, doesn't mean you can't do a hip dominant, glute hamstring specific strength continuum circuit of your own. That's where getting creative with the implements you have, the weights you have comes into hand. And that's really what promotes us to fitness forever, is using your head, making it your own, addressing your own needs, and figuring out a way to get it done. There's always a way to get it done. Trust me, if you have questions about that, I'd love to show you. Now, just because I'm talking doesn't mean I don't have a fire in my glutes right now that makes me want to cry. Finish these reps up. You'll be venturing close to 25. Speed these up for 5 more. Now, one thing I need to address. This is a ramp up set for me. I will go heavier than this on my next round. So I was able to move from one exercise to another fairly quickly compared to how fast I'll move through it when I add some weight onto these squats and deadlifts. I might need 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes between exercises after the squats, after the deadlifts. It's okay to speed things up towards the end, maybe 30 seconds to a minute if you're ready to go, but do rest. This is not this type of a strength circuit. It's not something you go through with no rest. You need adequate rest to perform well because this is a hypertrophy program. It's about show and go. We're building pretty muscles and, more importantly, in my opinion, we're building useful muscles. So rest long enough to feel aggressive on every exercise, which is different from exercise to exercise because of the nature of every exercise is different. So give it a go. I would recommend doing a ramp up round like I just did with a little bit less weight, maybe even about 50% of the weight, and then 2 to 4 working rounds depending on where you're at. Start with 2 rounds, after a couple weeks 3 rounds, then 4 rounds. Add weight as you go and progress slowly but surely. You want a program to last you as long as possible. Your goal isn't to get the results as fast as possible and finish with the program. Your goal is always to milk a program as long as you can, squeeze out every bit of results you can, plateau, step back, hit it again, try to bust through the plateau, and see how long you can get results from a program. So that's the best way to progress in the long term. We don't want training program ADHD, so it's not in your best interest. So give it a go, have fun, stay strong.